Well, hello, and welcome to my video. I sell on eBay, but I also am getting ready to sell this track, so I'm going to take and start with the sale first. We can talk about other good things later. Anyway, at the beginning here, you're going to take and see a Carrera 2.4 megahertz wireless controller setup. Now, that is not included in this sale, but you're going to see it on this. It's because of what I'm using on this track. This is a 1/43 Artin slot car track. Okay. Right now we're at a bank curve, and the controllers, they don't plug right in or nothing like that, but I wired them without damaging the Carrera uh, system and wired it directly up underneath the Artin track. Piece of cake to take and do. Anyway, we come down over here and we have a starting grid, a starting line I should say, and just a couple cars sitting there, and a lot of cars and things that are shown in this video are not included. What you will see is what's included when you take and log on to eBay at 123 Caveman, and this here particular track will come up as a used Artin set. It's used, not abused. I change my track often, and so pretty much the bottom line is that I just take and change my mind on what I want to take and try next. That's the reason the plywood is still looking just like plywood. Anyway, we got a lap counter. You come down, this particular straightaway is right around 8 feet long, comes up to a bank curve, lots of guardrails which are included, goes down a straightaway again, I think is 9 or 10 foot long. You'll notice 027 train scale track, cars, things like that, not included in the sale, but what you will see is a lot of supports for the track, having an upper lower lane, taking up exactly the same amount of space, but giving my layout a whole lot of more area to take and have a roadway. Anyway, coming to double banks on the beginning, you're on the top one, you come all the way down again right at about 10 foot I do believe. Some guardrails on that back which are included. Again, so are the supports. Comes down to a switchback, comes into a series of R1 curves, comes back around, goes up in here, and in this case, if you set it up the same, basically goes up underneath that top lane and down the road. So anyway, it comes down back again, and you're driving as, if you wanted to put it that way, or racing into another bank curve right up underneath it. Comes down, that was a 90 on that curve, and comes down through here, goes up underneath this particular intersection, and then there's a bank curve on the back side, once again coming down this direction, roughly around a 6.5, 7 foot straightaway, and past the tower there and back around to where we started at this start point. Of course, this is your lap counter. And one thing I want to take a note about this set is it gives you a lot of roadway to take and drive on. It doesn't look that huge or anything when you're on this video possibly, but there is a lot of track here. So I mean, I'm guessing roughly around, I don't know, 75 foot easy of roadway. And one thing for sure is you need a controller. So what I'm showing you here is a controller setup that I used on it before I put the wireless in place. And these are both 7 amp transformers. Okay, keep that in mind, 7 amps. Because your standard slot cars for 1/43, they're lucky if they're pushing 2 amps. There might be some out there that go over 2 amps, but I doubt it. Anyway, there are 2 7 amp transformers, and both of them, one of them is for each track. Track lane number 1 and lane number 2. Both of them are variable. You can adjust the amount of voltage. Right up here is about 0, and you put it to that second click you're running about the same as you would with any Artin track, right around 7 volts or so. But they go all the way up to a max of right at 18 volts. Okay? So the bottom line is you're going to get all the power you want, and if you want to slow it down so that the newer drivers can take and keep on the track a little bit better, great. One thing for sure is it's going to do a whole lot better than any Carrera Go or Spin Track or the SCX tracks, simply because you get full range remote, controllers. These trigger controllers are new that I'm including, and that's the connection track. That's the same track that I used on it before I put the wireless on. Now, once again, nothing against Carrera or the Spin Tracks or the SCX. They're great tracks, they are, but they have a turbo button. That turbo button means basically you're going to get maybe almost 60% of the power from pulling the trigger until you hit the turbo button. So you don't get full range with those, and nothing against those makers. They make good little cars. Their track is in good shape and does well. So I'm not complaining about those companies at all. I'm just stating the facts. Anyway, that again, there's two transformers. And every car that I tested on it so far anyway, the SCX, which is got a kind of a small motor, as you can see. It's not a bad motor, it's just small. Now, it kind of got a little warm when I was running it at 17 volts, but it did pretty good. Now, again, you're not running 17 volts all the time. You get going down those straightaways, and you have a heck of a time. You know, you have to take and slow your tail down because you're going to wreck. I don't care what slot car you're using. You floor it big time, it's going to come off the track. Anyway, I glanced around eBay, and SCX tracks or cars take and run roughly around $20 with shipping, I suppose. That's an average. That doesn't mean that you can't find them cheaper because, hey, it's eBay. Used ones are a little less. It just depends on, you know, what the last person did with it. The Artin car, you'll notice that the motor is quite a bit larger, and nothing against any of the other cars that I'm showing you, but I'm telling you that motor holds up a very, very long time. Gives me zero problems running it down the track as far as at that higher voltage, and just like a lot of my ads say, you can run those on any track you want. But if you put it on the Carrera Go tracks or the SCX with the turbos, guess what? That Artin car is not going to perform well simply because you're not giving it the voltage it needs. And until you hit that turbo button, it's not going to take off real hard. So, you know, that's up to the person. You change out your controllers on either that SCX tracks or the Carrera track, and you will take and find out you get full control for any car you put on there. Anyway, the Artins kind of bounce around quite a bit also, but they're only around $5.90 with shipping. Now, I'm talking about new cars, not used, and they hold up well. I've seen the kids, my grandchildren, take and hit the wall many a times, hit the cement floor here in the man cave a whole bunch of times, bounce all over the place, pick them up, brush them off, put them on the track, and take off. SCX and Carrera kind of have a hard time doing that sometimes, but they're great cars. It's just they don't hold up that well. Now, spin drive, that setup to where you take and, you know, grab the controller and spin like crazy, and that's how the car takes off. Guess what? They run just fine on the regular, Artin slot car track. Okay, at high voltage. And also, just so you know, those little lights that pop up in the tires as that car is running down the road or down the track, that's great. They light up, so I know your kids will still enjoy it, and they won't be splitting, you know, using the hand controller to take and spin. Motor's a little bit longer than the other two. Did well as far as the higher voltage and stuff, easy to control, and those little clear tires, them suckers hold on pretty darn good. Carrera. Okay, roughly I found on eBay, I mean new price again, right, $25 with shipping and everything. And you can get them cheaper sometimes, hey, no doubt. Just kind of doing an average. But the Carrera car has a small motor in it, okay? Doesn't mean they're bad or anything like that. It's just smaller, that's all. Smaller doesn't mean bad or anything, but it does take and reduce the weight. So the Carrera car and the SCX, that's one of the reasons that they run well on a very low voltage that the manufacturers give you to take and run at. They weigh a little bit less, and and the motors are rated differently. The motors did take and get a little bit warm, but that was from quite a bit of running down the track and stuff. So any of these cars will take and run on this Artin track. It's not a question, they will. So, you know, it's to each their own. The nice thing with this here particular track that's going to be for sale is you have the variable transformers that you can take and use. You can take and switch your directions, and you can also take and turn it down for the young driver and the driver that just doesn't know how to control it yet. You slow down, you lower that voltage, that car will slow down, and you'll be able to control, and as they get better, you can turn it up. And when they get great, you kick it on high, and watch out. Those cars will take and do what you want them to do. You're controlling them. Pull the trigger all the way down, and you just lit them up. So I appreciate y'all looking. Again, this track will take and be shown on eBay at 123 Caveman, and that's how it's listed with a dash in between it, 123-Caveman. So once again, it's a great track. Whether you set it up this way, it doesn't really matter, but you will have straightaways for days. So anyway, I appreciate you looking. You all have a good one. Bye now.